Hello, and welcome to Paranormal Chronicles. I'm your host, Joe Miranda, and this episode is entitled Atonement. Before we go any further, I just want to make the statement that I'm a flawed man and I'm a sinner. I give God all the glory, and I believe Jesus Christ is my Savior. I renounce Satan, but I will never underestimate his ability to blind minds, eyes, ears, and hearts here on earth. 420, 2013. This was a couple months into when I started keeping my journal. And this falls along the lines of the last episode, The Power of Prayer, where in this impression, and it was very clear, the impression was the pedophiles are coming for the children next. And I remember I shared this with my friend Craig Perry, and I spoke to him about it a few days ago, and he made the statement to me that he never thought that things would ever come this far. And what I mean is the lack of effort regarding the Epstein files up until now. Now, on that day, I got another 17 impressions. I went back in the journal, I looked. And I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know who the watchers were. So, but they can see things way out ahead in the future than we can see. So, take it for what it is. You know, this is very difficult. It's a very difficult topic to talk about, because there are a lot of people out there that have been affected by children being abused, whether it's they were abused as children or they've had family members that were abused. But I can tell you this, the universe is not going to stand for the unfettered and systematic abuse of our children. It isn't. I believe we need to pull the Band-Aid off the scab right now and get cracking on this. Justice needs to be served. I know that, those that are in a position to act, they need to act now. The world can't survive this. Can't survive children being abused unfettered. And these perpetrators go unpunished for it. Watchers have made that very clear. What's interesting about all this is that this coming week I have jury duty. And it's been a while since I've been selected for jury duty. I'm not sure if they're going to ask for people who object, or for people if there's an issue, if they can't sit on the jury. And if the question is put to me, I'm going to answer quite frankly that I can't. I can't be impartial, because I do believe there is a two-tier justice system, not just in this country, but in the world. And this is the doing of the justice system itself. They've allowed it to happen. So I'm going to be put to the test this week. If I talk the talk, I better walk the walk. And I will. I don't plan on being confrontational in the courtroom, but I will with all due respect, I'll make my position known because we all have a duty to speak out against a two-tier justice system, which is where the world is right now. There's no doubt about it. Happens all the time. And I can't very well sit on a jury and think that if it were somebody with power influence, number one, there wouldn't be a trial and it never would go to trial. It'd be swept under the rug or they wouldn't be found guilty because of their position or their celebrity or their power. So, a couple days ago, I was talking with a friend and I was reminded in an impression that, not only will people be judged for their actions, people will also be judged for their inactions. That's impactful. We all need to think about it. I'm of the opinion, typically in this world, we regret the things that we don't do because we make a conscious decision to do and not do things. So I've always been a firm believer in that we regret the things we don't do in life. And, one of the interesting things about this particular episode and this particular topic, I've written 4 screenplays, and 2 of them were spiritual thrillers. I don't believe that I was the creator. I believe that I was the scriber for these episodes. And they had to be written. And the most ironic thing about it is when I go back and I read through them. 3 of the 4, what I wrote about has already come to fruition. And in the 2 spiritual thrillers, well, there's Isaiah 52 and there's Walking Among Us Judgment Day. I wrote Walking Among Us Judgment Day and finished it, ironically, finished editing on the 12th anniversary of my mother's death, April 6th, at 2 a.m. And around 2 o'clock in the morning is when something came over me. If you go back to that episode, very first episode, I say that around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, something came over me. My blood pressure spiked. The nurses and a doctor were quite concerned. And then within 15 minutes or so, I was fine again. But I finished that screenplay 12 years in to the day, basically to the hour. Isaiah 52. That was finished in 2015. Actually, in November 15th, 2015. And the ironic thing about both screenplays is they touch on what's happening today. In Walking Among Us Judgment Day, there is a Ukrainian serial killer who is forced to face all of the pain and suffering he inflicted on his victims. And I'll get back to that in a second. Isaiah 52, in the screenplay, there are these camps, and American citizens are held in these camps against their will, as are their children. And God unleashed his invisible army when the camp detainers or camp guards or whoever was, you want to use the term, whoever was guarding over this camp, this basically a concentration camp or labor camp. God unleashed his invisible army when they came for the children, to take away the children. Doesn't take much of imagination to figure out why the children were being taken. And it's very fitting that we would be here today talking about an injustice done for children, against children. And I know that, God demands better, commands better. God's will commands that we don't just brush this under the table. This isn't political. It has nothing to do with politics. It does not matter who the guilty parties are. They've got to pay. And as I stated before, it does not matter their social status, their economic status, their celebrity status. Every one of these people or perpetrators must face justice for what they've done. I know that in my screenplay, or the screenplay, Walking Among Us Judgment Day, the Ukrainian serial killer was forced to experience all at once all the pain and suffering that he brought upon his victims. And I wrote this in 20, finished it in 2012? It's 13 years ago. Shortly after this, I started keeping the journal. Well, I was talking with my friend, as I mentioned earlier, and I got an impression. And that impression was about what is hell. In the impression, the watchers indicated that hell is you having to experience the pain and suffering that you brought upon your victims. Now, we're all sinners, we're all flawed. And the watchers were very clear about the term victim, victims. And with that said, those who choose to do nothing, to stand by and do nothing, even good people that stand by and do nothing, while those who abuse children at will will also pay. They'll, from that impression, their hell will be to live over and over the pain and suffering that those children had gone through. So think about that.